wrestling fans. My name is Brian Crazy. You are watching the F&M brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Thanks for tuning in once again. I am back with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for October 4th, 2012. It was a pretty solid night on Impact, building towards the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which is less than 2 weeks away. We started off the show with Sting and the general manager of Impact Wrestling, Hulk Hogan. Hogan wishes he could be by Sting's side in the big match of Bound for Glory, but one of the reasons Hogan is not going to be involved in this match is his recent back surgery. But in the storyline, they covered it up with the Aces and Eights saying, Hogan, this isn't about you. You need to choose somebody else. So Sting and Hogan said they'll be looking at all the matches tonight to determine who Sting's partner will be at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. In the first match of the night, Mr. Anderson ends up picking up the win over Gunner. Gunner had Kid Cash along with him at ringside, who is his tag team partner. This match was to establish Mr. Anderson as a top dog, to establish him as one of the potential choices for Sting's partner at Bound for Glory. Then we go into Knockouts action. Tara and Gail end up picking up the win over ODB and Tessmacher after Tara basically sacrifices her own tag team partner. She ends up throwing Gail right into the opponent. Tara ends up hitting a finishing maneuver and picking up the win in this match. Then we go into Al Snow and Bruce Pritchard backstage, and they're talking about the Joey Ryan situation. Then we see Al Snow in the ring. He brings out Joey Ryan, and he seems to offer him a contract, a long-term contract. Joey Ryan goes and heads and signs after making some insults about Al Snow, but Al Snow tricked him. He will get a long-term contract after he fights a match at Bound for Glory, and his opponent at Bound for Glory is none other than Al Snow. It is the match that so many wrestling fans have wanted to see for quite some time, and we're going to get to see it at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, TNA's biggest show of them all. Then we go into television title action. Samoa Joe versus RVD. Samoa Joe ends up picking up the win over RVD. This was a pretty good match, and it is announced that Joe will face Magnus at Bound for Glory. Then we also see that the real television title has returned. Devon must have returned it to TNA Wrestling, because last week when Samoa Joe came out, he was still carrying the old TNA World's Heavyweight title, the pre-immortal version of the belt. Then we go into Chavo Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. This was an okay match. It really could have been a lot more, especially with the talent that was involved in this match. But it was setting up the big tag team match at Bound for Glory, the big three-way tag team match. And Chavo did pick up the win over Kurt. Post-match, the teams are arguing. Kurt, AJ, Chavo, and Hernandez. And we see the current tag team champions, Kazarian and Daniels, standing at the ramp, and they're just laughing it up. Daniels has got another one of his famous Appletinis, and they love what they've been able to do. They've caused so much problems between those two teams. They're so much focused on each other. They're not focusing at the real task at hand, which is capturing the World's Tag Team Championship. Then we go into Zema Ion versus Douglas Williams. This is a quick match. I really would have liked to see a lot more out of Douglas Williams, and Douglas Williams is one of my favorite TNA competitors. Zema Ion picked up a quick win, just establishing him as one of the top heels in the X Division today. Zema Ion ended up keeping the lock held in a little too long. The referee reversed the decision and gave the win to Williams. Then we go into a segment between Robert Roode and James Storm. They're going back and forth, setting up their match at Bound for Glory. This is where we see King Mo make his TNA Wrestling debut. Not really much to report in this segment. He ended up shoving Bobby Roode, just building towards the match at Bound for Glory. I would have really liked to see a little bit more in this segment as well. Then we see Bully Ray go against Jeff Hardy and Austin Aries. He not only defeats the current World's Heavyweight Champion, but also the #1 contender for the World's Heavyweight title. Then Sting and Hulk Hogan have a very important decision to make. They decide to choose Mr. Anderson to be Sting's partner. But just as Mr. Anderson's music hits, we go backstage and we see him getting beaten down by the Aces and Eights. Then Hogan and Sting, after Bully Ray comes out and convinces them, chooses Bully Ray to be Sting's partner at Bound for Glory. Like I said, it was a pretty good night on Impact, really built towards the Bound for Glory pay-per-view that's less than 2 weeks away. I would have liked to see a little bit more out of some of the contests we saw tonight, but overall, decent show. Can't wait to next week. Can't wait to Bound for Glory. I want to know your guys' thoughts. I want to know your guys' opinions, and I want you to drop them below, because that's what it's all about. It's about fan interaction. It's about your guys' opinions, because without you guys, the fans and subscribers, I'd be a guy just talking to a camera. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll catch you tomorrow.